Hello everyone, so now we are going to keep going of the bench vise part, and now we are showing you how to use SolidWorks to make the vise jaw, which is this part, okay, vise jaw, and so let's take a look at the overview so we know where we are. So we made this part last time. We're going to make this part. Okay, we're going to make this part, which is the part that I'm showing you. And there are some holes. So one hole here, another counter bore hole at the top. And it's actually goes through there until stopped. So the intersection with this hole, and there are also two holes at the bottom, and this is the part that we are going to make. So when we make this part, I am going to make the back rib first, then I am going to make this part and extrude and put fillets on both sides and make the part at the bottom and do extrusion, and then make the hole at the top and the two holes at the bottom. So this is the plan. Let's close this and start a new one. So go to start a new and part and say OK, and check the units, it's right. So go to sketch and click sketch. And now I want to make the part on the front plane, so I select the front plane and I am going to draw the sketch. So first of all, I am going to draw the rectangle, and I am going to make the origin. So let's go back to the part. I am going to put my origin here, and it's up to you. So let's go here and make a rectangle. So one point here, another point here, and say OK. And let's look at the dimension. So the rectangle in the back, so once again I made my origin here, also here. So it's here, and it's 36 times 64. So 64 times 36. So I'm going to dimension it. This one is going to be 64. And this one is going to be 36. And from here to there is going to be 32, which is half of a 64. And say OK for the dimension. Let's see why is it still blue. Well, it's not recognized on the origin. So let's delete this dimension and drag the middle point. So drag it on the center so it doesn't recognize either. So the middle point. Okay, so let's dimension the middle point. So the middle point, okay, now instead of do smart dimension, let's try to add a relation. So add a relation, and the middle point and the origin, let's say they're coincident. Now it's fully defined. And now let's make a extrusion. So this is still minus sign. Let's save the work first. So go back to this folder and call this part as vise jaw. and save it. So make sure you put them in the same folder, so in the future when we do assembly, it can recognize automatically. And say save, and it's fully defined. And select the sketch and go back to features, do extruded. And let's do it in the other way because we're going to draw another part on this side. So let's flip it to the other side, and the distance is going to be 10 for this part. So let's go back here, it says 10, okay. And now let's draw the front part, which is this part. It looks like there are two circles and have two tangent lines and another two lines here. And let's draw that. And then there are two fillets, so let's draw the shape like that. So go back here and select to the front and make that part. So go to sketch, select the sketch and select the plan, which is this plan, the front one. And let's draw some circles. So find the center, it's about here, and draw a bigger one. So tangent to the top. So tangent is showing up, which is good. And also draw a smaller one. In the bigger one, let's take a look at the dimension. So the bigger one, the dimension is radius is 16, and the smaller one, okay, so the smaller one is actually complicated. It's a hole instead of just a cavity. And as you can see, this is the front view, this is the right side view. So it's actually goes through a little bit to the rectangle as well. So let's not worry about that part first. So let's only draw the outer one and use Hole Wizard to complete this part. So let's go back to SolidWorks and delete the smaller one. Instead, so put the radius. So the radius of the bigger one is 16, so diameter is going to be 32. And let's find out more dimensions. So two lines, then horizontal lines, okay. So let's go here, make a horizontal line first, and make a tangent line. So see if it recognize. If it doesn't, we're going to manually add it. It doesn't. Okay, that's fine. At least we have a coincident line. And do another line at the opposite. See if I can recognize. Okay, that's cool. So from here to anywhere, and make a coincident as well. And now we are going to add relation. So make the circle and the line to be tangent. Then you say OK and click anywhere and do add relation. So the circle and the line, say tangent, say OK. And now let's look at the dimension. So I have a 10, so from here to the bottom is 10. And this 2 is 50, so each is 25. Let's go back. So smart dimension from here to the bottom is going to be 10. And okay, they're recognized automatically because I have a horizontal relations, which is good. And now let's dimension this 2 as 50. And half of that is 25, so I would need a center line. So the origin is there, so center line, I am going to make an origin, and it's recognized because it's black, but the hole is this circle probably not. We'll see. Let's drag it around and put it back on the center line so they have a coincident relation. It means it's recognized, which is good. Now let's go to smart dimension, and the dimension dust2 as 25 and say OK. Well, looks like we would need another dimension here. So let's take a look at the drawing. So from the drawing, those two are supposed to be tangent. So the top of the rectangle and the circle is supposed to be tangent. So let's add that relation. So first of all, let's bring it back in so it's easier for us to add relation. So you can grab the center of the circle, then add relation. So the point, I don't want to select the point, I delete that. So I select the edge as well as the circle, say they are tangent, and say OK. And let's go back to the front view. OK, they're all fully defined, which is good. And now let's close the shape of the part because we are going to extrude later. So let's close all this shape and say OK. And do trim, so trim off this part. Delete this, delete this. Now it's a closed shape, which is good. And we're going to extrude it outward. So let's find out the dimension of that. So the overall dimension, so we probably want to take a look at the top view. Okay, the top view. Overall is 32, and the rectangle we just drew, that was 10. So the extrusion is going to be 22. 32 minus 10 is 22. So go back here, and this is still underdefined. Let's save the work. So it's fully defined, and select the sketch first, and go to features, extruded boss, and put the length as 22, and say OK. And this is the part. Now we are going to make the bottom piece here. So the bottom piece here. Let's go to the picture, see if we have a better one picture there. So it's this part, the bottom piece. So let's do that and find the dimension of that. So it's 16 times 9, and in the center. So let's go ahead and do that. And SolidWorks, so we probably want to draw it in the bottom. So go to sketch, and go to sketch here, select the surface, which is the bottom surface, and make a rectangle. I probably do 2 points from here to there, and go ahead and dimension them. So this one is going to be 16. And the half of that is going to be 8. So from here to there is 8. Now everything is fully defined, and we are going to extrude it out as 9. Okay, 9. And let's save the work first. Then select the sketch 3, go to features, extruded boss, and extrude it as 9, and say OK. Okay, this is our part. And as the next, we're going to add fillets here. So the fillets is 3, and let's go ahead and add that. So go to a fillet and select, go to menu first and select the first one, select the edge here as well. So it says 3, so you change to 3 and look right, say OK. And now we are going to make a hole. So first of all, let's make this hole first. So it says 12 and 20, diameter is 12, the depth is 24, so this is 24. It looks like it's a simple hole. Okay, it's a simple hole, does not have a drill at the top. So let's go ahead and make that. So let's go to Hole Wizard and select the simple hole and symmetric. So instead of a drill, we do dowel holes and select the size, which is 12 as the diameter, and the depth is 24, so blend. So the depth is 24, and go to position. So select the surface, which is this surface, and place your hole there. And let's switch it to the front view so we can see it better. And let's dimension it. So first of all, this hole and this arc is supposed to be concentric. Okay, so add a relation, thus in the hole. Oh, I don't need the point. In the hole, okay, probably I can only select this. Yes, okay, they are concentric. Let's say okay. Let's see what, yes, it's already black, it's concentric, and say okay. I got a hole like this. And let's look at the inside, see if that's a flight back or it's a drill. So the way we can do that is displaying style. We could say hidden lines visible. So by taking a look, whoop, it's a wrong one. We're not supposed to have this. Okay, so if we go back to the drawing, so where it's supposed to be flight. So let's go back and fix the top of the hole. And let's go to the Hole Wizard and right click and edit the feature, edit the hole. See if we have any way to change that. So first of all, let's take a look, show custom sizing. Alright, this is a 118, so let's change it to 180, which is a flight. See if it'll work. Well, it worked. So this is flight, and this is what we are looking for, which is good. Then let's save the work and change it back to the first one, the shaded with edges. And now let's make the top hole. So the top hole looks like it's a counter bore. Okay, counter bore with the dimension. So diameter is 6 and the pitch is 1. We don't need to worry about this. And the bore is 12 and the thickness and the depth is 4. And will be connected to the hole that we just made. So let's make that hole. So go to a Hole Wizard. And the top is counter bore. And asymmetric. So select the type. So the type, let's select socket bottom head cap screw, and the size is 6. I'm 6, and show the customer sizing. So the inside one is going to be 6. And let's change it to 6. And the overall is going to be 12. So let's change it to 12. And the height, let's see, the height is 4. So the height is 4. And the angle here is no longer 180. So, okay, we can leave it as 180 because we're going to go up to the next. So let's leave it there, it doesn't matter. And the end condition, let's do up to next. Okay, so it's going to stop with here, up to the next. And let's select the position. So we're going to select this surface and put the hole here. And now we're going to dimension it. Let's go back to the drawing. And from here to there is 20. So dimension from here to there is supposed to be 20. Also, this point and the origin is supposed to be vertical. So let's add that relation. Add relation, this point and origin. And let's see, they are along Y. Let's see it. No, along Z. Okay, along Z. Okay, so let's delete this first and say okay, see what's gonna happen. It's still blue. Let's try it. Let's try how we can move it. Okay, it actually can move on the left and the right. So let's give a dimension. So from here to there, it should be in the center. So let's take a look at the, so the overall is 64. So half of that should be 32. So let's do that. So dimension from this point to the edge. The smart dimension from the hole to the edge. Okay, it doesn't pick that very well. And let's select the surface. So the point and the surface. Oh, it's good. So it's 32. Then see, yeah, it's black, it's fully defined. Then say OK. And the hole is actually went through here. Okay, so let's save the work. Actually, the hole here I think is smaller than what they look like. So let's double check. So the hole there, diameter is supposed to be 12. And look at my, oh, it's 6. So let's go back and change that to 12 and say OK. Okay, this looks right now. And also we have 2 holes at the bottom. So let's take a look at the dimension of that. So it's M6. The pitch is 1. And the length is 16. And the height, the gray angle is 120, because if you go next slide, they are all both 120. So let's make that. So go back here, go to Hole Wizard. And select the tab. Looks like that's a simple hole. So select the simple hole, and it's going to be a drill. Okay, let's do a drill size, and the size is 6. We just said, so it's 6. Okay, let's go back to dowel holes. So it's 6, and the degree is no longer 180 but 120, and blend, so the depth is going to be 16. We just look at that, so it's 16, and we have 2 of them, so let's put it here. So go to positions, select the surface. We're going to select the surface, make 1 and 2 here, and now let's dimension them. So at the front it's 8 and then 16 also in the center. So in the center it's 8 of each, so 8 is here, 8 to there, so 8, 8 and 16. So go to dimension, so from here to there is supposed to be 8, and here to here it's supposed to be 16, and here to here is 8 as well, and here to there is 8 as well. So they're all black. Say OK. And say OK. So this is the 2 holes. Then that is all for this part. And after you're done, then save the work, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.